What's going on, everyone? It's CodyBPyrotechnics and welcome back to the channel. It has been a long time since I've done a video on mortar racks, which is what we're going to do today. Every single one of these I got from Great Lakes Mortar Racks, which I don't want to call a new company because I think they've been out for quite a while now, but it's definitely new for me. And these guys make some of the most extreme mortar racks on the consumer market, and I cannot wait to show you guys what I ordered from the company. So here's what we're going to do. Right now, I just received all of the mortar racks I ordered, and there's one more that is not here yet. And when that one arrives, we're going to go out to the gravel pit and get you guys a full demo video on each style rack, show you what their purposes are and how they perform with actual canister shells. Today, I just want to show you what these mortar racks look like and explain a little bit about them. So we're going to show you these mortar racks one at a time. I'm going to take one here off the ground, put it on the table, and we're going to show you what it's used for and why these mortar racks exist. All right, so this first one here is called the Serpent, and it is definitely my favorite mortar rack on the entire website. You can see he uses an iron here to put in Serpent and then the Great Lakes Mortar Racks logo right there. That's also really cool because typically you don't see that on mortar racks. Right off the bat, you will notice the build quality on these racks is incredible. They're using very thick wood here on the sides and for the base. Even the spacers are extremely thick pieces of wood. I mean, these things are super durable, and what's nice about them is they're not too heavy either. But these racks have got to be some of the most top quality I've personally ever seen, and I've used every mortar rack in the book. But I would say these ones definitely look the cleanest and they feel the most durable. Now anyways, back to the Serpent. So the way this mortar rack works is you can see right here would be your starting shell. And then it winds around like a serpent, which is super cool that they were able to figure out a way to fire the shells like that. Now, as far as practical uses go with this, I'm thinking more like a one-position fireworks show. This might come in handy. You could have an igniter in this tube and this tube hooked up to your canister shell, and you could hit them both at once on the Cobra, getting those shells to fire in a V. Or you could try to run comets down the whole Serpent and it would look like a zipper almost. Definitely a super unique rack, and there are a lot of applications where you could use this in a one-position backyard firework display. This next one here is very similar to the Serpent, but this one is called Mayhem. And I like this one a lot. The Serpent is definitely a little more unique, but this one is super cool as well because you've also got those split shells. You just don't have that one in the middle that wraps it to make a serpent. So with this one, you've got left and right effects. You could have two canister shells in here and fire them at the same time. You're gonna get breaks like this up in the sky where the stars don't touch each other, and they'll get a really nice spread on them if you're trying to do one-position fireworks shows. Or you could opt to rapid fire with quick fuse down this entire row, and you just have two positions of breaks up in the air, and I think that would still look really cool. And this is one way to do it. What I like about this company is they also make the classic straight up mortar racks, the ones with just two rows side by side. Tubes go straight up in the air. This is what I like to see right here, this innovation with, well, how can we make the mortar racks a little more fun? And let me tell you, we're gonna have way more fun with this thing when we take it out to the gravel pit and shoot shells out of it. Well, this one here sure is a monster of a mortar rack. I mean, my God, it is pretty heavy, but I can lift it, and I'm not the biggest guy in the world. So, I mean, it's not terrible. It just has a lot of weight to it. And that is because inside of this behemoth of a mortar rack, we get 24 tubes. So you could have an entire 24 kit of shells in here if you want. This bad boy is called the Hurricane. Absolutely love the name on that. I've got some very interesting ideas planned for this. It's one of the most unique racks ever made because you've got one row that shoots all to the right, one row that shoots all to the left, and in the middle, you've got a very nice fan. And this fan is not too extreme, but you will get a perfect spread on your shells firing them out of the middle like this. And I'm just thinking of all sorts of different things you could do with this. And I do have one thing I'm going to be testing when we finally get to bring this out to the gravel pit and demo it. But this right here is one of the most heavy duty racks I've ever seen. All right, I know this is the one that you were all looking at from the beginning shot. This is called the Chaos Rack. I cannot think of a name more fitting. Take a look at this thing here he's got burned into the wood. This side towards audience. So it's something that you would see on a cake. Now, as if it wasn't obvious enough, you definitely want to make sure that your audience is facing this mortar rack because of these angled shots here on the back, and of course the ones here in the middle like we saw on the Mayhem rack. If we flip it around, I can get you better shots of these little 3-shot racks on the back. Now these are super cool, and again you can see the Chaos etched right there into the wood. Just kidding, they're not etched, they are burned into the wood. These things are never coming off and they look super clean. But look at this, we get like 3 mortar tubes right here. Some little 3-shotters. I'm definitely thinking of maybe some comets going out of these things at the same time you've got canister shells going up. Again, just a perfect mortar rack for one position fireworks shows. And not even just that, you do not have to limit yourself to that. You could totally use these in 3 or 5 or 6 position fireworks shows all the same. It just depends on how many canister shells you want to incorporate into your firework display. This is hands down one of the most unique mortar racks I have ever seen in my entire life, just because of these two things that come off the back. I think that's super, super cool. Now you might be looking at this one here going, hey, where are the tubes? Well, what's funny is this is actually a cake rack. So inside of this rack, you could house like 4 200-gram cakes or 350-gram cakes if they're small enough. I've definitely seen some that are. So you could probably get a lot of those in here. And these little spacers, you just wedge them in like that in between your cakes, and it keeps them from tipping over, and it gives them that extra added support. If you find 200-gram or 350-gram cakes that fit in there, they ain't going nowhere. And what's nice about this little ledge is that if you really wanted to get creative, you could probably take one of those super large zip ties and zip tie your cakes to the side of this thing. There's no way they're tipping over. Okay, last but not least, I gotta hand it to this guy for creating a mortar rack like this, because you guys have probably seen all the times in my firework displays where I have tried to create Roman candle racks. It never really works out. I've had to use zip ties and drilling holes into wood, then taking the Roman candles and then strapping them to one singular board. It really gets old trying to invent ways to do that, but this guy actually has one dedicated to barrage style Roman candles. You stick them in the top like this, and I don't know how many fit in here, but if I had to guess, it's a lot, because it looks like we have a lot of room. On the bottom of the barrage style Roman candles, there's this little thing that you're supposed to shove in the ground. It's like a cone on top of a rocket, but upside down. What you want to do is you want to take that and snap it off like I did in the 450,000 shots video. And once you've done that, you'll be able to get your barrage style Roman candles loaded into this rack without that thing sticking out and making it not safe to fire. This is really cool though. I cannot wait to pick up some barrage candles and test this out for you. What's cool is with every order from Great Lakes Mortar Racks, you get a koozie and some stickers. And let me tell you, this is one of the funniest sayings I've ever seen on a firework related item. Nice racks. Now, the website is actually right here on the koozie. It is glmr.us or just greatlakesmortarracks.us. Both of them work. One other thing that's nice about Great Lakes Mortar Racks is that their tubes are top quality. They're never used for anything else, so when you get them, they're not full of debris. They've got a really nice clean cut on the top. The other thing is I got to talking with Chris, and he told me that he guarantees he will never run out of any of this stuff. So even right before the 4th of July, if you guys need mortar racks, this is definitely the place to go. That's his guarantee. These guys also have like a membership thing on their website you can check out. I think it's called GLMR Mafia, if I'm remembering it right. And it gets you 10% off year round, and then once a month they draw a winner for a free mortar rack if that's something you guys are interested in. I'll leave all the links in the description, and when we see you next time, we're gonna be testing out all of these mortar racks at the gravel pit. It may not be the next video that I upload, but we are gonna be doing that very soon.